All right. Okay, good. For some reason, the panel was working, which is, well, anyway, thank you for joining me on this Wednesday, the 13th of August. All righty. This Queen of Fools' birthday. It is a birthdays of a lot of famous people from Fidel Castro to um, other people that I know. Anyway, the show is brought to you today by uh, Interconnectedness called Cloud Purple. They are having me in London next week, so it's going to be an interesting experience. Also, King Simon, my brother, really in every sense of the word, astrologically, spiritually, numerically. So he is having part three today. Just go to patreon.com/ King Simon Productions. Also, Numerologics, the sale was over. She had offered a sale on the 30th, excuse me, August 11th, which was ending, which Mercury retrograde ended, but there's still the residual effects. And so she does have an offer that is included there. You can see it. Also, Nicholas Brooklyn celebrating over 50 years in business. They were located at 1396 Fulton Street in Brooklyn. I may be out there this coming Sunday, in fact. All righty. So I'll be with Hank Rising Sun, Kafunya, of course, Monique, and the rest of the Nicholas Brooklyn family. Also, the book will be forthcoming. I know those of you who asked, they've gone to Amazon, but Dr. Uchenna Hackett, or Chenna as my closest to him, the book will be available soon, and he's going to keep me up to date. Also, Manifest on Purpose with Miss Kimberly, who is now specialized in business astronumerology. So for those of you who want to get some insight about your business and whatnot, she's a person to go to, and they are complimentary readings too. All right. Also, at the end of the month, I will be doing my numerology course. I'm going to tell you why it's important based upon a real life experience I had of why having this under your belt will maybe save the day in some cases, as it did me, which I'll explain later. But before I get to that, let me let you know about today's forecast. It is Wednesday. It is August the 13th of 2025. The sun is in Leo. The moon is in the fire sign of Aries. It's an 8 universal month, a 1 universal week, a 3 universal day. And for those of you under Pisces and Sagittarius or born on the 3rd, 12th, 21st, or 30th of the month, this is definitely your day. Okay. I thought what I would do is just have a kind of a free for all. So for those of you who have questions, those of you who've had things about the birthday now, I don't know everything. I know a lot. That is true. I've been doing this long enough, but I don't know everything. But what I do know, I would like to share it. Hopefully make you a better person of understanding why you do what you do, what makes you who you are. Now it's come. So now I can slide the panel up and down. All right, good. So I'm ready. But before I get into this, I do want to thank Jazz Aphrodite very, very much for Monday's presentation. Normally when I'm away and she sits in, I'm so busy. But when I was out of town, I happened to have the good fortune of having a nice amount of time to watch the show. An amazing show. And I got to give Hugh Hayes his props for mastering in a very sophisticated yet sensual way boudoir photography. I don't know what they refer to it as that, but very, very nice. Very, very nice. And Jackie did a good job. And so for those of you, please, these are her books. This is her first book. This is her second book. And this is her third book. All of them are excellent books. And this is this one that I use a lot when I'm referring to some numerical information, because I have a lot in my head, but sometimes having notes helps a lot too. Okay. So with that said, what I want to do is I will take people's questions, birthdays, whatever the case is. But there are a couple of people I do want to acknowledge. This was from a week or two ago. Kendra O'Connor She had chimed in. Evidently, I think she had made a donation, but I could not get, I didn't get a chance. And let me tell you, sometimes when I get so many people coming in, and let me get back to this a second. When I get so many people coming in, only after the show and I get a chance to look at all of the comments and I'll see somebody had donate. That's what I'm going to do right after this, in fact. And so what I try to do is come back and acknowledge it, because I don't want anybody to feel that their funds have been taken, because right now things are tight. But for Kendra, who is on January the 20th. Now, what is interesting about this date? This is a cusp date. In other words, my good friend and colleague for many years, Kalia Washington, is born on this day, but she is an Aquarius, January the 20th. Then you have a case of Kendra, who is considered a Capricorn. Well, what would determine that? First of all, it depends on where on this planet she was born. So, for example, let's say she was born in Hawaii. Well, that's 6 hours behind us. So, like today is about like 7 something. So, but when you talk about 6 hours behind it, that was about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So maybe by 1 o'clock in the afternoon, it was still in the sign of Capricorn. So don't forget, each of the signs does 30 degrees, and she could have been maybe 27, 28 degrees. However, that Kalia could have been born at 7 o'clock this time, but on that day toward the evening. Well, by that time, it could have moved from Capricorn into Aquarius. That's why people that are born around the 20th, the 21st, or the 22nd of any month are called cusp children. And it's simply the way I describe it is, it's a way of saying that you got a foot in one sign and you got the other foot about to step into the other sign. And I notice in my experience is this, and you'll correct me if I'm wrong, for those of you who are cusp children like Kendra, that when they're coming up and they're exposed to get into astrology, they'll actually read both signs. So Kendra may have read about the Capricorn side. She may have read about the Aquarian side and figured out, based upon other factors, she may have gotten a reading, for all I know, that she decided, in fact, she was a Capricorn. All right. But if so, let me tell you about her. That means she is an earth sign with a water number. And that means that therefore she would be a nurturing kind of person. Two, by its very nature, are sweet. They're loving, caring, sharing, kind, romantic, artistic. They like to collect things or find it hard to throw things away. They're super sensitive. And it's not just a 2. She has a 0 behind it. So it's 2 to the 10th power. That only increases the sensitivity of this person. In the tarot card, the 20th card is called the Awakening. It's a picture symbol of a man, a woman, and a child with their hands clasped in prayer, about as if to ascend to the heavens. And when they say awakening, it tells me that anybody born on the 20th, from the 20th of January to the 20th of December, for the most part, are always trying to raise the consciousness, or they used to call it in the conscious community, the kundalini of the person around them. Girl, you know that man ain't, you know that guy ain't no good for you. And they don't pay any attention. Then later on, they come back and say, not only was he no good, he was a jerk too. So for the 20th, I says it's like leading a horse to water, but making them drink is another thing. So it tells me, Kendra, that part of your goals, your gifts, is to definitely raise consciousness in every way, shape, and form. It also indicates that you are in a 3 personal year. Now, how did I do that? I put January the 20th, but instead of taking your year of 80, I substituted it. And in its place, I put 2025. Anytime you need to know what cycle you're in, you just take your month and date of birth and add it to the year in question. This way you can say, well, what cycle was I in when I got married? What cycle was I in when I graduated? What cycle I in when I got that first call? Or whatever your highlights of milestones in your life would be: having children, graduating, getting a job, you name it, breakups, whatever. Whatever is significant. You can remember that year. Just put your month and day in front of that year, add those 3 figures together, and that will tell you the personal year cycle that you're going through. So in her case, Kendra, she's going through a 3 cycle, which means expansion, good luck, prosperity, self-improvement. And right now, when I added to August, she's in a transitional month for this month of August as we speak right now, which means there are changes that's going on in either relationships, around the workplace, or maybe even changes in her home. Okay. But she's in her element because, and also I wouldn't be surprised if she's not doing something with her diet. But as for next month, January, things, excuse me, September, things are going to really open up for her. Well, according to your sign, your key numbers are the 2, the 7, and the 8, since you're a Capricorn. Had you been an Aquarius, it would have been the 2, 7, 4, and 1. That's Mondays and Saturdays and Fridays are your best days. If you were an Aquarius, it would have been another set of days, okay? So anyway, that's what I see, and I thank you very, very much because she did make a donation. Now, here's another one that I didn't get a chance to speak with. I only saw it after the fact. Eartha Pierce, that she's one of my specials. She's always making a donation. I do believe I acknowledge her donation. If not, I'll acknowledge it again. Michelle Davis is so ironic. I met her at the Ascension with Queen Afua, which was interesting. And I said, she looks familiar. And I happened to call her to say, is this you? Yes, it is. Anyway, but for love, I did not get a chance to acknowledge it. So I do want to acknowledge your donation. Thank you very, very much, love. She has a 8 life path. And so what I'm doing is I'm checking because it's 10/21. Yes, that's true. Now, when they say life path, that means the month, the day, and the year she's born when she adds it all up. Now, what happens is what people don't know, and let me just take on the day you're born, okay, believe it or not, that represents the oh, hold up, let me go to this one. This is where I need to go. Her life path, which is an 8. What it simply means, that was the universal day that she happened to have been born on. Now, so whatever your life path is, whether it's from 1 to 9 or 11 to master number 11 or 22 or 33, whatever it is, it tells me on that day, that was the universal day in this time of the world on the planet, that everybody was going through those experiences, okay? So the life path simply means what you're here to learn, what you're here to master. I call it like being in the school of life. So in the case of Miss Love here, it is obviously that her path, she's in the 8th grade in the school of life. It is about philosophy. It is about maturity. It is about ancestry, things of that nature. And yet it's so interesting because 8 governs the sign of Capricorn, which is her sign. There will be kind of a paradoxical kind of energy because one of the oppositions to Capricorns in number 8 is the number 4. And one of the opposition signs of number 4 is the 8. Yet 4s and 8s are always kind of drawn to each other. So it tells me she likes to think outside the box. She likes to be different. I know a couple of people born on this month and day, and some others that's from December the 22nd, January the 4th, January the 13th. The only exception would be is January the 22nd, which is the day Sam Cooke was born on, but that makes him an Aquarius because he was born after the 20th of the month. So what it tells me, love, is that your key numbers are the 4, 1, and 8. It tells me your best days are always on a Sunday, a Saturday, and a Monday. And it also indicates you're in a 5 personal year, which is a year of change. This is a year for you to begin to focus on the things you need to do, get things done. And I do want to thank you for the donation. That's for Michelle Davis. She is a Capricorn. So it's so interesting. I have 2 Capricorns back to back, but the energies are different. One is born in January. That makes them more independent at a very early stage. In Michelle's case, being a Capricorn, she's born in a 3, which means influenced by third parties coming up as a young child and things like that. There is a lot to this. This is why I'm having my course on numbers, you, and beyond. It's really learning how to read a person like a book. So, yes, I do have my Udemy course where I have the Learn from LLoyd series, how to read a person like the book, the next step in numerology, the do's and don'ts of numerology. But this is more of a hands-on course that will teach you how to make a living. And so before I start with the comments, let me explain this way. I I worked at a very successful radio station for like about 20 years probably. And there came a time when all the people that worked at the radio stations were kind of like terminated. Most of the people that were terminated went into panic mode. To my good fortune, because I had mastered this craft of numerology, that's what saved the day for me. So where other people were looking at trying to get into the radio shows, and that was at a time where just even get your big toe in the door. This was before the internet, Instagram, Facebook, is before any of this came along. Okay, so people had to knock on doors, make calls, and whatnot. But because I had found this art of numerology, that's what saved the day and helped me get over the rough roads. I say that to say this: a lot of people are not working. It's not that everybody's got to go through this route of numerology, but what I'm saying is you will learn a skill that will last you your entire life. No matter where you go on this planet, if you have a human being, male or female, okay, I don't care what language they speak, what their philosophy is, what their religion is, what their weight, their height, their age, you got their number. And I'm telling you, so I've taught students the last August of last year, where one went to Bali, one went to this country, one went to that country, and all survived learning the art of numerology. So I'm just saying that if you want to know how to do this and have another skill set under your belt, just click on the QR code there at the bottom right, okay? So I'm going to leave it there for a second so you can take a picture of it and join me on August the 31st, where I will teach something that I absolutely love, I'm absolutely passionate about, and I'm absolutely good at this too, okay? So what I'm going to do is go to the comments. I'm going to go back a bit. And okay, so let me start. So any questions you got, please let me know. Eartha Pierce, thank you so much again. Always, she's one of the regulars. She knows how to spoil a person, okay? I thank her. And Chanel Herbs too, very good. Oh, and I have a very, oh, please like, share, and subscribe. I swear I keep forgetting it. Obviously, that's, they say it's the algorithms. I don't know that because that's not where my focus is. My focus is to come here, raise consciousness, to bring a variety of topics to you. So that is what I do. Melanated, for example, every week without fail. Not that I'm looking for her every week to put pressure on her because like she doesn't have a life, but always show support. Okay. All right. So I have a question here. It says, okay, Lloyd, can you please explain the difference between a 2 life path and a compound number 20th? And also, is it true that 20 is more similar to that of the 11 than the 2? All love from South Africa. I'm really honored to come from so far. I need to ask where you guys coming from too. From South Africa. I'm really honored. Okay. In numerology, there are the single digit numbers, and then there are the double digit numbers. A 2 is different from an 11 because 1 and 1 is 2. And 11 is different from a 20th because 2 plus 0 is 2. And the 20th is different from 29 because 2 plus 9 is 11 and 1 plus 1 is 2. Okay. The 2 is simply without a 0. It simply means sensitive, psychic, intuitive, romantic, huggable, lovable, sympathetic, whatever the case is. When you have the 0 behind it, it increases that energy to the 10th power. It takes it to another level. It's like the octave chord it's like middle C on a piano and then high C. Okay. It just goes to the next level. They both do the same thing, except the 20th just really kind of make sure that they are good at raising people's awareness. They seem to have an inner knowing. There's thundering outside. I don't know what you can hear, but it's very interesting. Mother Nature is making her presence felt tonight. So, but at any rate, that is the difference. So it all depends on how the life path is added. Now, there's some people that would take the month plus the date plus the year. They'll add all that up. So they'll say 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 9 plus 8 plus so and so, and that adds up to 2. Then but the proper way, at least the way I taught myself. Because when I came up doing this, there were no teachers available like they are now. There was no internet, there was no Google where you could look up these things, 1, 2, 3. So I had to gain my knowledge from books. And thank goodness I was born in a city like New York. And thank goodness my parents always read, even without education. My father made sure he made up for it by having his nose in a book all the time. So that spread to me too. So it was by living here in New York, going to Wiser's bookstore, Mason's bookstore. These stores no longer exist in New York. But these were stores that I would go there. I'd go on such a regular basis. They would give me books. They would go in the back of the store where they got their real juicy books and bring them to me, and I'd buy them. So I have a collection of very rare books in my collections on the subject of numerology. But in reading those books, I learned the proper way of how the birthday should be added. So the date of birth should go at the top. Underneath it should be your date. Underneath that, your year. And so when you do that, okay, let me see if I can do something here a second. Give you an example. I'm going to take a birthday. Let me see. What I do 8. And this would be the proper way to do it. I don't know what this is going to come out to. 2, 0, 2. Okay, this is a rough draft, folks. Okay, see how I did it? I put the month at the top, the date underneath there, the year underneath that, and it added up to 2020. So therefore, this person's life path is a number 4. Okay, they may have done it this way. Let me see. January 24, 1995. It's 10/24. Okay, that equals 31 or 4. Okay, some people do it this way. That is not the correct way to do it. This is the correct way to do it. Then another person would do it this way. Okay, they'll add it at the bottom. They'll say 1 + 6 because the person's born on the 24th, the year 1995 as a 24/6, and they just reduce it like that. So when a person is looking for a master number of a 22, a master number 11, the proper way to do it and determine it is this way. It's the old school way, not the new math of addition that, it goes around the barn to get to an answer to me. But that's how it should be done. All righty. So in that case, that's the difference. So is it also true that 20 is more similar to that of the 11? Well, yes, 11 represents visionary awareness. 22 is called the awakening, which means you kind of raise the consciousness. All of these 2 series are really designed to help other people, to help humanity, to help those that come into their space, okay, by giving advice or counsel. People don't have to take it. But with 2s being psychic, so for example, let's say you have a child who's a number 2, and you know how family members or friends or relatives will come over and you say, honey, say hi to them, and they don't want to. I tell the parent, take note about that 2 child when that particular person comes in, because 2 children just feel that's their energy. They can't explain it. Well, I saw it in the newspaper. Somebody put a bug in my ear. They just know. So once you know that, so anyway, so it all depends. So your life path is a 2. But if you will submit your full birthday, I can do it, and then I can let you know what the deal is, okay? Anyway, thank you for that. Okay, let's go to the next one, shall we? All right. That was fun. Okay. And this is Cloud Purple. This is where I will be at. And beautiful greetings. This is Teresa Miller, 6024. That must mean something. When people sometimes pick numbers, it either have to do with a birthday or a pet number or something like that. And peace and love to you, man, on move. Definitely peace to you. Okay. And yes, Numerologics, Jazz did an amazing interview. I'm telling you, the many times she said it for me, I've always been so busy I could never see a show. But this particular case on Monday, I was blessed to see the show and I was very impressed. And I will tell Jackie to her face or behind her back, she's good. And thank goodness I made a choice of having her sit in for me. Okay, this is Marcelite, a new business. Okay. Um, First of all, you happen to be a fire sign with a fire number. That means whatever you do it with passion because Sagittarius is the entertainment sign and three is the entertainment number. Perhaps it should be in the business of not entertaining where it's got to be music, drama, concerts, or whatnot, but something that's creative, imaginative, expressive, artistic, things of that nature that brings color and life and vibrancy to a situation. Okay. Then you happen to be in a five personal year. Now, there are two schools of thoughts with this too. Now, one school, the newer school, seems to be, well, I'll wait till the birthday of November the 30th, then she'll be in a five personal year. The books I have didn't read it like that. You take the month and day you start and then the year. So if I took November the 30th and added to 2025 from Jump Street in January, they entered a five personal year. In January, they were in a six. In February, they were in a seven. In March, they will be in an eight and whatnot. So this way, it tells me that this person is at a turning point, Marceline. And it's also good to advertise, promote, and you would do well in business, science, commerce, communications, export, import, export, the stock exchange, literary field, travel industry, and a whole lot more. And it tells me diversification too. And so anything you need to get out there before the public, this is your year to get it started. Okay. Um, but yes, and this year you happen to be in a five. So it's about bringing about some changes and things of that nature. Okay. All right. So by the way, though, your key numbers are the 3, 6, and 9. Your best days are always on Thursdays, Fridays, and Tuesdays. And you're blessed with 6 months, which is always March, April, and May, October, November, and December. Alrighty, this is blissful aura. They asking for her partner 8-4 and herself 10. Well, first of all, I'm looking at. Let's start with you. You are um, a Libra. You are a Libra master number 11 person. So that means your key numbers will be the 2, the 7, and the 6. Those are your numbers. As for your partner, he is a fire sign with an air number. So his energies would be the 4, 1, and 5. And so what I'm saying is this for him, he's in a 3 personal year. For you, you happen to be in a 3 personal year. So what that tells me is that y'all go through the same cycle year at the same time. Often with couples, married couples, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, you name it. Normally they're going through different cycles. This explains why one year they get along great, and then one year they just don't seem to be on the same page because of the cycle that they're in. But once you understand that, you know how to adapt and work where there's at least some meeting of the mind, so to speak. So in this case, with both you and he being in a 3 personal year at the same time, is a good time for both of you to be creative, artistic, expressive. In fact, with y'all being in a 2 month for, and how I did it was I says August added to the 3 personal year gives me an 11 personal month, which is a 2. 2 has to do with relationships. It's a transitory cycle that deals with changes in the home, changes in relationships, and changes at the workplace. So for both of you, separately and apart, he may have gotten a new workstation. You may have gotten a new boss or supervisor. Okay. You may have done something with your home. He may have done something out of his home or whatever the case is. Or you'll form a closer union with each other. But he is a fixed sign. You are a cardinal sign. Okay. And so here's the interesting thing. Although his number, which is a 4, would be opposition to your sign, his date of birth, the number 4, is ruled by the sun. Your number, which is 11, which adds up to a 2, is ruled by the moon. So in this case, you two have a what is called a sun-moon relationship, if that makes sense. Okay. I hope that answers the question. All right. So he has those his numbers 4, 1, and 5. Your numbers are the 2, 7, and 6. So let's say, for example, you say, listen, I want to marry this guy. What would be the best date? In a case when I meet a couple where the numbers don't match at least one of them, if any of them, I always set the date around the woman. The woman is always a foundation to family. Although they're trying to get women away from that and say you don't need nobody. Women have always been the glue to any household. I don't care. Even for single mothers, it's the woman that's holding it down in the house. So I would always set the date around you. So I tell him, well, first of all, for you, not to start no stuff with him, that you should be ideally get married somewhere around March, May, July, and October. Those are your months. And especially on a date that adds up to a 2 or a 6, as these are relationship numbers. Okay, so that's it. I hope that helped you, Blissful. All righty. Okay. Yes, the podcast was great with Jazz and Hugh. Yes, I agree, Melanated. It was. It was very, very, very good. Okay. Blissfully asking for my partner who's, okay, I answered the question. All right. Okay, I think I answered this one too. Yep, big difference. Yes, I did. Am I going backwards? Okay, I thought I was going forward. Okay, now this person here is March the 28th. Now, if you got a question about numerology, please do that too. If you got a birthday, that's fine. I'll do that because I love to do it. That's what keeps me kind of sharp with this. But if you got a question, I know much of it. I don't know everything. No one knows everything, but I'm pretty good at what I do know. And if I don't know, I got enough sense to find out how to know to get back to you. So in this case, you are a fire sign with a fire number. Sometimes you got to be careful who you put your trust in, because everybody's not reliable returning the trust back to you, who you seek counsel from, and how you put your name on the dotted line. It indicates you're in a 4 personal year, because I took March the 28th, added it to this year, 2025. And so that added up to a 4. So since 4 is one of their numbers, their key numbers are the 4, the 1, and the 9. That they're, it's the 1, 4, and 9. I got it wrong. The 1, 4, and 9, that is your numbers. So this is a year for you to kind of get your house in order, have a sense of direction, focus, purpose in terms of your intentions, to follow a roadmap of how you plan things. And you'll find that this will be very important to you. Okay. Your key numbers again are the 1, 4, 9, and your best days are always on a Sunday first and a Tuesday more than any other days. Those are fire days because you are a fire sign with a fire number. Okay. This is ZZ. Can you please do character and personalities for 7th of November, 2000 male? All love, I'm a fan. Thank you very much. And from South Africa again. Well, this person will be a water sign with a water number, born in a water year. Everything about this person tells me they are emotional. Now, yes, we men are entitled to get emotional too, okay? There's no lock on emotional just being with women. We men get emotional too. We've just been trained and orientated to our testosterone nature to have more of a sense of logic and then the emotion. But we have our feelings too. And what happens is with him being water, that tells me he's either super sensitive around people, super selective, and very private. And I find that with water signs that they're affectionate, intuitive, and they're very romantic to a sense. Although 7s don't show that outwardly. They kind of wait till the lights are low and all that stuff, and then they show what they can do. But basically, for the most part, I'd say a loner, not in a negative way, a loner that most 7 people born on the 7th, the 16th, or the 25th, you just can't knock on their door because you have to be in the neighborhood and you ain't got nothing to do. 7s normally don't play that. Normally you got to have a purpose, or you from Amazon or FedEx or United Parcels. Then, because you're dropping stuff off and you out of there. So that's the thing I am seeing. This person happens to be in a 9 personal year, which is a good year to fulfill some of their dreams, to wrap a few things up, and to get them out the way. But for this male, their numbers are the 7, 2, and 6. And Mondays and Fridays are always their best days without exceptions. Okay. So that's it. And thank you very much, CZ. Okay. Now, this person is born the same day as Prince. who is an air sign with a water number, okay, which means logic and yet sensitivities. And it tells me that this particular year, you happen to be in a 4 personal year, which is good for laying a foundation. 7s and 4s are interchangeable because 7 is a moon number and 4 is a sun number. So in that way, you should doing pretty well in terms of getting your act together. In fact, if you look at the year you were born at 2002, that's the year before. So it tells me there's a good chance that one of your parents could have either been an um, Aquarius or Leo or Gemini, but because you were conceived, let's say June, if you were actually conceived in September of 2001. So that means one of your parents could have been, because the year you're born gives a clue to the zodiac sign or the date of birth of one of the parents. So if they're born in the year 2002, it tells me one of the parents could have been an Aquarius. And if you can you confirm that and let me know? Because nothing's perfect, okay? But I'm doing the best I can. This is all my research. So born in 2002, that's a 4. So that tells me there's a higher than average chance one of your parents was either an Aquarius or Leo or Gemini, or born on a date such as the 1st, 4th, 10th, 13th, 19th, 22nd, 28th, or 31st of the month. But because you were conceived in September of 2001, which is a 3, it tells me there's a high probability that parent could either been a Sagittarius or Pisces, or born on the 3rd, the 6th, the 12th, the 15th, the 21st, the 24th, or the 30th of the month. So this is the research. So let me know how we did, okay? But nonetheless, this year to get it together, this year to make sure you just don't get out there not know where you're going. You know what I'm saying? You just can't be thumbing your way and not having a direction of where you're starting from point A to where your intentions are going to point B. That is the case. A lot of people don't like the 4 because it requires effort, but there is nothing that you get worthwhile without making some effort. This newer generation and this new projection of programming of thinking that people are just entitled, that you owe me something, that is not how the real world works, okay? And so almost always you got to make an effort. And so you couldn't have been at a better time to make an effort. But what you put in is what you get out. That's what I like about being in a 4 cycle. Nothing in is nothing out, okay? And I remember one time I did a radio show in Texas, and the guy says, well, when is my ship coming? And I said, did you send a ship out there? Because if you don't send nothing out there, how you expect something to come back to you? You know what I'm saying? So this whole notion of lend me, give me, can you spare, is it free? That was in the older community. And now this thing of entitlement, you owe me, and I ain't got to give up squat for that. This newer generation of mindset. You're going to have some problems in the real world with that. You're going to wind up with a lot of disappointments. I can tell you straight up, real talk. It's not going to go down. So based upon that, I wish you well. And then next year is coming up. You'll be in a 5 personal year, which is one of your numbers, because your numbers are the 7, 2, and 5. And your best days are always on a Monday and a Wednesday. Okay. So thank you. Hi, Goldie. Goldie 88. Let me see this person here. Okay. 5/15/92 for August predictions with Kim. You said, Taurus, be careful what you say because the moon will be in Scorpio in the last week. That's right. What happens is when I do my forecast that you see in my newsletters and on the videos, I'm using a reference book. I'm looking at the moon. The moon will go through various phases. The new moon, the full moon, when the moon is transiting your sign, when the moon is going through your opposition sign. So when I said that as a Taurus, that meant, yes, that means the moon will be in the sign of Scorpio in the last week. So what it simply means is that it's not that you hide under a rock or put your head in the sand. It just simply means not to overextend yourself. And especially if you got a Star 8 app and you seeing some red stars along that period too, that means you hit the brakes or slow down, okay? But at least this way you know what's going on. And one day I'll explain, because each day my Star 8 is improving. There's a lot of things that's added some additions to it where you can compare other couples other than you and just another person. You can remove yourself and compare this person and that person, see how they're doing it. So there's a lot of things that I have. But he says, but does that apply if my moon sign is Scorpio? Well, if your moon sign is Scorpio, what that means is you are a full moon child. That's what it means. It means anytime the moon and the sun are opposition or 180 degrees or 6 signs away from each other, that is a full moon. So So because your moon is a full moon and your sun sign is a Taurus, it wouldn't be as bad. This is why you got to really go deep into the world of astrology. So don't forget, I'm just dealing in a broad brushstroke, so to speak. But there will be exceptions to the rule with that. And so even when I do your name, Kim, that's a water energy. Scorpio is a water sign. So that means during that time, you might feel a lot of things. Okay. So anyway, but nonetheless, your key numbers are the 6, 3, and 9, and your best days without exceptions. I don't care where the moon is, where the sun is. Numerically, you will always be at 6, 3, 9, and your best days will always be on a Friday, followed by a Thursday, followed by a Tuesday. Okay, so that's what I'm seeing. Thanks so much for that. Okay, let's see. This person made a donation. Sandra Moss, thank you so much. Zandra Moss, I like that. That's different. And they are born 8/8. They were born last Friday, which is called the portal, the opening. And it's interesting. Eight is an old soul number. All right. So when I look at it, you were born in the year of the 3, 7. So your life path number or destiny number or birth path number, or you happen to be in the first grade in the school of life, which means you're here to learn leadership, giving direction, giving focus, adding vision, determination to get the job done, being an innovator, being a futurist, um, going where people have not gone before, being a groundbreaker, but being a very independent spirit. And since 1 is a business number and 8 is a business number, and in fact, one of the people that I deal with on this birthday, they run a business. Okay. They run the business and they run it very, very well too. And they happen to be born on this birthday. So that tells me those are some of the potentials that you have. So let's say you don't run a business. That tells me you don't take orders well. So it wouldn't surprise me if you wasn't a manager or a supervisor or director. Eights normally do well in business, banking, real estate, working for the government, penal systems, and things of that nature. Something. And 8 is also an ancestral number. It deals with your ancestors. It deals with legacies. It deals with people from your past. So it tells me, my dear, you've always been an old soul, so to speak. So I wouldn't be surprised. They said, girl, you was born with a veil on your face when you came here. I don't know how that's when you listen to the elders talk. Yeah, I knew you was old when you got here and the way you would ask questions and stuff like that. But I do thank you for the donations. And your key numbers are always the 8, the 1, and the 4, which means Saturday, followed by Sunday, excuse me, in a minor way, Monday are always your best days. All right. So that's what I'm seeing. And by the way, this year, you happen to be in a spiritual cycle. This is a cycle to search. This is a cycle to be a seeker of wisdom and knowledge and understanding and spirituality. And this is a cycle whereby oftentimes when a person is going through a 7 cycle like you, it's about going back to school, of church, going to get readings, going to psychic fairs, but you're reaching a high level that's go beyond the 5 senses. That's the point. All righty. And you're probably having some very strange dreams where you wake up and say, wow, what is that about? Okay. 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 All right. Now, this is another question. Now, I got this from South Africa, but I'm going to answer. It says, according to my observation, a lot of mob figures and crime bosses are born on the 24th, and yet numerology and 6 is the number of nurturing sensibility. Don't forget. Well, I'll tell you this way. As all numbers have their positive side, each of the numbers have their negative side too. One of the negative sides is being stubborn, obstinate, controlling, unyielding, things like that, which ain't going to go into all of stuff, but um, so I forgot John Gotti's birthday. I don't think he was a 6, but they call him Teflon Don. But I think he was born. Well, anyway, I can't. That is escapes me right now. I can tell you this that for that may be true. I'd have to do some research on that one. Okay. And please listen to my moderator when asking questions. Please limit it to 2 or you will be removed. So I don't want people removed if they don't have to. Okay. This is okay. This is Shelly. Hi, Shelly. Um, they're born March the 7th of 68, a new home. Well, actually, This would be perfect for you. Why? Because when I took the month and day, March the 7th, and added to the year 2025, it adds up to a one. One, anything's new, a new relationship, a new home, a new job, a new position, a new attitude, a new mindset, a new appearance. Anything when a one starts. And see, that's what's going to be happening in 2026, because 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 6 is 10, and 1 plus 0 is 1. So everybody's going to come up with a whole new attitude, a whole new way of looking at things, putting a different spin on it. That's why 9 represents endings and closure. That's why this year is getting rid of the waste, the nonsense, the drama, anything toxic, the way you do things that's toxic, the way you deal with people that may be toxic, or toxic people dealing with you. This year is about elimination of anything you do not want to carry into the next 9-year cycle that begins in October of this year, leading into 2026. So in 2026, it's me, myself, and I. It ain't what you want, it's what I want, it's what I need. So anybody who's trying to tell you what to do, and if your attitude is, I think I need to do this my way, that would make perfect sense. So for a new home, if that's what you want, yes. And I would say that there's a couple of things. In fact, I would say you had an opportunity to look at a new home somewhere back in late April, May. Okay. Then there's another one that's presenting this way in August, this very month, but in the last week of the 22nd to the end of the month. I'll explain how I do all that one day. But this is what I'm saying. But the point is that if you want something new, this is your year. Get a house number that adds up to a 7 or a 2 or a 6, because it does indicate you like your privacy. You are a water sign with a water number. 7 is a psychic number. Pisces is a psychic sign. So it tells me your intuitions about feelings and people and hunches and outcomes and events should be pretty much on point if people listen, okay? But some learn the easy way, some learn the hard way. That's how it goes sometimes, okay? All right, let's see. This person says, good evening. But you can tell me about my oldest daughter. She is December 26th at 9:36 p.m. It's 9:36 a.m. in Sacramento, California, which is 3 hours behind New York City, but that's California time. So looking at the time frame, that tells me that your daughter's sun is found in the 11th house, the house of Aquarius, which is groups and things of that nature. You have an old soul daughter. She's under the sign of Capricorn, and Capricorn rules the number 8, the 17, or the 26. So your daughter is doubly old, young biologically in that sense, but old. So for example, if your daughter finds that she likes much older men, maybe to your chagrin, okay, like 10, 15, 20 years older than her, she feels comfortable with that, okay? She's always exhibited maturity. She's born in the year of 1998, which means she was conceived in March of 1997, which added up to an 8 because 1997 adds a 26. So you yourself could be a Capricorn or an Aquarius or a Libra, or born on the 8th, the 17th, the 26th, followed by the 4th, 13th, 22nd, or 31st of the month. But you have an old soul daughter, that's for sure. She would do well in business and real estate, running executives, managers, supervisors, CEOs, CFOs. She knows how money is to be made, and always very, very mature for her age, okay? So what you need to do is look up in the firmament, so go to Google and find out where the moon was that day that deals with her mindset. Look up, get a chart done. You know she was born in California, there in Sacramento. Her sun is in the 11th house, but where was it that time, which would denote her ascendant, and that will help you get a personality. But I would say your daughter is straight up, serious-minded, very intense, very dedicated, and tend to be more misunderstood than understood in anything else. Her most important numbers are angelic numbers of the 8, 6, and 3. Her best days are always on a Saturday, followed by a Friday and a Thursday, too. Okay? Thank you very much for that. All right. Okay. You said you purchased my book, Numbers in You, about 7 years ago, which taught me so much more than the Zodiac. Yeah. Well, but actually, I started out with numerology first. excuse me, astrology. And then that's why I was introduced to numerology. And what saved the day for me is if you get a numerology chart done, yes, we all know the month, the day, and the year we were born, even where. What throws people off is they're not sure of the time they were born. Well, my mom says, I think I was born at this time. Or the birth certificate says I'm born that time, especially those that lived in the South and in the Caribbean, where the midwife would come through every now and then, and they collect all the births. Now, for those of you who can appreciate this, for the elders, those who, and for this younger generation, now you understand why your grandmother and their mother kept the birthdays in the Bible, okay? Because there's a lot, I meet people where the mom said they're born on this day, and the certificate says they're born on that day. Well, for me, watching the birth of all my children, that's something that a woman don't forget. Now, unless she's cranked out about 10 children, things get a little foggy. I can relate to that. But normally, if it's first, second, third, even fourth child, I don't care what they say. That mom knows what day because of what she had to go through. She can tell you the circumstances, when the water broke, where she was, what she was doing, this, that, and the other. A perfect example was about a month ago in July, where this woman had 4 children, all born on July the 7th. Okay. And in fact, when she was out shopping for the 3 children, that's when her water broke and they rushed her to the hospital. And her 4th child was all born on July the 7th. Okay. And in fact, they all had the same birthmark on their legs, on their right legs too. So I would say that I'm going to always go with the mother. I understand the official birth certificates, and this now other cities, but those who were born in the deep South, those who were born in the Caribbean, back in the woods and all that other stuff, I would, but hopefully you now understand why the grandparents and their parents kept the birthdays, the names, the month, day, and year of the children in there. I don't think they wrote the time, but they definitely wrote birthdays. And for those of you who have your elders, you ask an elder, they will tell you, yes, my mom used to keep all the names, my grandmother used to keep all the names in the Bible. That is to keep the confusion up. So anytime they says, well, the mom says this and the birthday says that, I understand from a legal governmental position, yes, I'm going to always go with the mother. Sorry, okay? Births, the government don't give births to babies, okay? Anyway, okay. I don't know what that was very loud. Oh, when you heard the thunder, yeah, it was loud. Yes, okay. All right, so let's see what we got. Okay, this person says, Foxy Moon Premium says, peace to the mods and Chads. Okay. Be careful. I will. I ain't, one thing I don't mess with. Certain things I just don't mess with. And Mother Nature is one of them. Okay, let's see. Okay, this says you have a millisecond of the thunder from, and in fact, if you ever want to know how far the lightning struck, when you see the flash of lightning, count 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 whatever. And when you hear the sound, that tells you that was 3 miles away, 4 miles away, whatever the case is. That's just something I learned when I was living with my elders. They could tell you how far away that lightning strike was. Okay, as soon as they saw the lightning, 1, 2, 3, then you hear crash. That tells me that was 3 miles away, 4 miles away. Anyway, that's one of the things when you deal with traditional ways. There's now, if you don't see it on TV or see it on a computer, what is it? Okay. All righty. I will say this, Zizi from South Africa, I've answered several of your questions. I've answered them. I won't be able to answer anymore. And I don't want my moderator to take you off because she's no joke. All righty. Okay. Let me see, who is this? It says, could you please tell me the color you should wear and not to wear based upon your birthday? Okay, I'll tell you this. In my book, Numbers and You, I deal with colors, gemstones, and stuff like that. 8 is always black, dark navy blue. Well, dark black, you got different shades of black, trust me, okay? But black is the basic color for number 8 people, and then maybe navy blue. Sometimes the distinction, you almost got to put them out in the sunlight to see which one is blue, which one is black. Followed by that under the sign of Leo, that comes under yellow and gold and red and crimson, things like that. So therefore, you would do well with a combination of, let's say, a black shirt with a red tie. It's just, well, this is a woman. Well, you might do a black jacket with a red blouse or something like that, or a black jacket with a yellow blouse. Okay. Those would be the things. But your key numbers, though, which was on Friday, would always be 8, 1, and 4. Those would be your key numbers. All right. And happy belated birthday, too. Okay. Now, they said 65 people are here. We only got 48. They put the thumbs up. Can the rest of you people, please, about 19 of please, just, it's free. Just press the thumb. As she says, hit that button. All righty. Now, Occult Prophet was born on June the 29th, 1999. Their first name is Amon. It's 17 in the Chaldean system. Does that give me the number 8 qualities? In name, yes. If your name adds up to an 8, and let me do something right quick. That's 10, 14, 15, 16, 17. That is correct. You have it correct. It adds, I did it in my head. I mean, I've been doing this so long, but it adds up to 17, 8. And if that's your name, it tells me one of your parents could be a Capricorn or an Aquarius or Libra, all born on the 4th, the 8th, the 17th, the 13th, the 17th, the 22nd, 26th, or the 31st of the month. If you can confirm that for me, these are research things. This is what helps me help you by my research, okay? But that's the name. So you have a business name, yet you're born under a sensitive sign with a sensitive number. You're born in 1999, which is the year of the 1, which means you were conceived in September of 1998, which was the year of the 9. All right. So that gives me a clue that one of the parents could also have been an Aries or Scorpio or Leo. But for you, though, which is what's important, your key numbers are the 2, 7, and your key numbers are the 2, 7, and 6. And let me see the image. Yeah, this is a guy. You know what this tells me about you, too? The women are your blessing and your curse, sir. Okay? So in a sense, you either work around a lot of women. By the way, he answered it. His mom is a Capricorn, see? And she's born on the 22nd of December. Okay? So these are the things I learned. This is why I call my book Numbers and You. From people that would ask, and they would ask me questions, I have to figure out things. Thanks so much for confirming that. But it tells me that women would be your blessing and your curse. Therefore, and when I say that, either you work around a lot of women, your boss is a female, there's strong maternal influences, whether it's a grandmother, mother, auntie, sister, girlfriend, wife, daughter, you know, and you would do well in anything relating to electronics, computers, technologies, engineering, the mechanical, mathematical sciences, things of that nature, okay? And that's you, and your key numbers are the 2, 7, and 6. And King Simon, my buddy, came through. He listens to the show on a regular basis. John Gotti was born on October the 27th, which is the 6 upside down, because 2 plus 7 is 9. But what's interesting, Gotti's numbers are the 9, 6, and 3. And his son was born on February 14th. So what that tells me is that Gotti conceived his son in the month of May. That's what it tells me. I don't know the mother's birthday, but but I know with Gotti's months, it would be March, April, May, October, November, December. So it was one of his conception months when he was conceived. Okay. Thanks for that, Simon. Good looking out. Okay. Let me kind of go back a bit. Okay. Okay, I'm going to take this. I'm going to take just a couple of more. Hello, Lloyd. Life path is the 6th, July 18th. You're in a relationship with a guy who was born December the 29th. Now, in astrology, there are what are called opposition signs, okay? Not only is this person an opposition sign to you astrologically, there are opposition number to you, numerically speaking, to you as well. He has a life path as a 2. That's good, but here's what I'm saying. Opposition sign means there's an opposite attracts. Well, that's true in that sense. But when I see it, I says there are things that y'all love about each other, and then there are things y'all can't stand about each other. So the opposition sign to Capricorn is Cancer. You being a Cancer Goldie, the opposition sign to Cancer is a Capricorn. You're born on the 18th. 1 + 8 is 9. So the opposition sign, the opposition number to the number 9 is the number 2. He's born on the 29th, which adds up to a 2. The interesting part about him, though, although he's a Capricorn, he's born with a Cancer number, because 29 equals 11. 1 + 1 is 2, which governs the sign of Cancer. That would explain it. But I would say that at some point, y'all may not see eye to eye. If you got my Star 8 app, check it out and see. Now, I'll put it this way. Your key numbers are the 9, 6, and 3. His numbers are the 2, 7, and 8. So technically, you'll have no numbers in common. Now, if I did it traditionally, it would be the 9, 2, and 7, so that you would have. But and then he's in a 5 personal year, which is a year of change. And then you're in a 7 personal year, which means you really don't feel like being bothered. So if he's the kind of person that's going to smother you, I would say by next month, it might be a wrap. Okay. But anyway, I wish you the best. I always wish people the best. Okay. It felt a lot like a blockage. Yes, it is, astrologically and numerically. Opposition signs to one another, opposition numbers to one another. So if you were to ask me, Lord, if I married this man, would this be a marriage made in heaven? I'd say, I don't think so. I'd use stronger language, but we're on TV right now on the show. So anyway, no, that's it. Okay. Abdul Reese, I see him. He appears on our podcast. He's 1129. What's the best month to start a business? Okay, well, for you, you're in a 4 personal year. So you should have started back in June. You have an opportunity to start it later on, especially in and around October, when you'll be entering a 5, which sets the stage for business, promotions, things of that nature. But regardless of that, you are a Sagittarius with your fire sign with a water number, which is kind of contradictory. So it all depends on what day the moon is flowing, the weather's going, and stuff like that. But nonetheless, though, it indicates very sensitivity. Adam Clayton Powell, the famous minister here in Harlem, famous politician who married Hazel Scott, that was an excellent pianist, and the most beautiful lady from Trinidad on the planet was born. But this was born on this day. Also, my cousin, Billy Strayhorn, the co-writer of Take the A Train, Lush Life, Passion Flower. Billy Strayhorn was born November the 29th. Duke Ellington was born April the 29th, okay? So when he took the A train, that's because he came in to see Duke Ellington, and he took the A train up to Washington Heights at building 555 Edgecombe Avenue to see it. Well, anyway, it's all in the thing about. So, but nonetheless, your key numbers are the 2, 7, and 3, and your best days are always on Monday and Fridays. So your best months, therefore, would be the month of March, the month of May, the month of July, the month of October, and December. Those are your 5 best months. March, May, July, October, and December will be the best months to start your business. And try to start on the new moon, and try to start when the moon is in your sign of Sagittarius too. You would do well in entertainment as well. All righty. Okay, August 3rd, fire sign with a fire number. Happy belated birthday. Passionate. This year, you happen to be in a master number 11 personal year. And this is the time for you to raise your awareness, your consciousness about the things you're doing. And it is about really taking things to the next level. Okay. And so for your numbers, though, the numbers are the 3, 1, and 4. And actually, to be honest, my dear, you get along better with men than you do. And here's the irony about your birthday. When you were younger, you attracted older men. As you get older, you're going to be younger men and men from different cultures and long distance relationship. So I jokingly say to a woman like you, you'll get up in the morning, go in the mirror, go in the bathroom, look in the mirror and say, girl, what is going on up in here? I'm saying you may have had some of that experience already. So don't be surprised. Older when young, younger with maturity, different cultures, long distance relationships. I'm willing to bet you had a little of them. Not that you had to have all 4, because that's enough, but you may have had it. Okay. So I'm going to do 1 or 2 more, and then I'm going to get off this phone. Get off the show. This is, hold on. Why can't I do this? Why is not letting me show this? Okay. This is Diamond Briz, July 27th. Fire sign with a fire number 9, 1, and 4 are your numbers. This particular year is important for you because you're born on the 27th, which is a 9. 2025 is a year that adds up to a 9. So you happen to be in a 7 personal year. So you should learn the 7 laws of divine spirituality, 7 laws of meditation. Seven is always very important to you, especially this year, because this year governs the law of attraction. And so therefore, if you can take time out from busy schedules and things of that nature to focus on the things you need to do in terms of your in-house, not just outside, but internally, through meditation, through prayer, through faith, through an inner working, through following your hunches, paying attention to your dreams, that would be very important. But your key numbers are the 9, 1, and 4. And that tells me you do not take orders well, Diamond Briz. Okay. And that's not a bad thing. I mean, you can't boss everybody around. All right. I mean, come on. I don't know what they want. So anyway, I do want to thank you. This person said they'll write about the parents. My birthday is August the 4th. And that means you like to be different. Your numbers are the 4, 1, and 5. Sundays and Wednesdays and Mondays are your best days. Okay. And this particular year for you, you happen to be in a 3-person year, which is very busy. It's good for dealing with legal and semi-legal matters too, if you have to. And that's it. And to Steve and Carolyn Williams in Chicago, please get those likes up. This is family. Actually, my show is called Live with Lloyd, but technically, quietly, it's the Live with Lloyd family. All of you who come here, you're a family. This is why I treat every one of you with the utmost respect, kindness, and consideration, the way my parents raised me to treat other human beings, which seem to be a lost art nowadays for whatever reason. But do not lose your humanity, folks. Don't try not to let this society or whatever the agenda is throw you off your rhythm from learning how to be humane to one another. Because let me tell you, if what they project is true and things are going to be very tight, the one person you will be able to depend on is family. Notice in the COVID, they didn't want you kissing your grandmother. If you went to Thanksgiving, your grandmother wanted a hug, you can, listen, I'll take my chances. If I'm going to see my grandmother, believe me, she going to get some sugar out of me. I will take my chances, okay? So, but the point is, it seems to want to disconnect people from each other, and yet we all need each other to survive. And so when things get tight, it wouldn't be surprised if we don't get back into bartering with one another. Okay, I do this for you, you do this for me. I can make that work, and in exchange, you make this work. But a lot of people are going to get real innovative in the next 2 or 3 years, believe me. All right, as things are happening. All right, okay, let me see. This person said, all that thunder, my grandmother would have been sitting in the dark. When I was a kid, we had to cut everything off in the house. The lights went out, radio went out. I don't think we had a TV then. That went out. Listen, whatever was coming through electricity was shut down. End of story. I can relate. I can relate to that. All right. So anyway, I do want to thank you and all very much. Let me see. I want to make sure that if somebody made a donation, I did not miss them. Okay, that is my thing. Okay. I think there are none. If I should see somebody with a made a donation and it got past me, I'll make sure I do it on Monday. And somebody also tell me to please show my banner. I don't get to show my banner that often. I keep forgetting, to be honest with you on that one. But that's my banner. That's how you can get in touch with me. But again, so let me, before I sign off, give you my sponsors. Okay, that is my banner to pay attention to it. And download the Star 8 app too. It's absolutely free to sign on. Thanks, Numerology. Thanks for the kind words. I have great support. I'm very, very blessed. Okay. So now let me get to our sponsors. I'll work backwards. I'll work backwards with Miss Kimberly, who has a Manifest on Purpose and also Astronumerology Reveal. She has found her niche as a business astronumerologist, focusing on getting businesses just like Evangeline Adams got JP Morgan up and running, okay? And what a lot of people don't know is J.P. Morgan actually used an astrologer back in the early 1900s, which is probably why he did not get on the Titanic, which is another story for another time. But Ms. Kimberly will offer a complimentary assessment of your business or business ideas. That don't mean you take up all her time. The woman is busy. Okay, so please don't y'all do that. All right, just go there. The fact that she's going to give you this time, y'all show respect, please. Okay, so also working backwards, Uchenna, his book will be. I promise you, when it's available, he's still going to hold it. He's one of those perfectionists. I understand that. Also, Nicholas Brooklyn. Okay, I thought I cut my ringer off, man. Anyway, so Nicholas Brooklyn at 1396 Fulton Street, over 50 years in being in business. Also, Numerologics with Melinda Valentine, who is excellent. She does a wonderful show. You can go to YouTube and type in Numerologics, but she offers these services for charts, written reports. She's very detailed. She's born under it too, so that makes perfect sense. And then my good buddy and lifesaver. This brother has done so much for me. I can't thank him enough. From the platform I use to getting my link tree to the brother, he has my utmost respect. I will always give this man his props. No one's perfect, but he's the closest thing to it as far as I'm concerned. But please go to his Patreon. He's now in Numeration, which is part 3. This is going on right now. And of course, Vanessa and Corey Best out in London. I will be their guest next week. And I think it's going to be live stream. I'll ask Simon. Knowing Simon, he's creative like that. He probably knows. He could probably tell me. And for those of you, I cannot emphasize, if you want to have a backup skill, and let me tell you, all I do is numerology. It's interesting. People say, well, Lloyd, do you have a day job? No, this is it. This is all I do. It took me a while to get to this point, but I'm at a level that I can save you. And Simon can teach you the same thing too. Simon is no joke. Okay. And in fact, Jazz Aphrodite is teaching a Numerology Institute herself. These colleagues of mine are no joke, in the sense that they are very, very serious, very honest, and have high levels of expertise. I have my way of teaching. Jazz Aphrodite has hers. King Simon has his. Brandon has his. Rebels Bay, we all have it, but come to mine. Click on the QR code at the bottom right. That's why I got there, so you can take a picture of it, snap it, and sign on, so I can see you on the 31st, okay? My last class was in August, and they've been the tightest group. It seems like when things taking place in August, in the September, October, things work best. It's a 5-week course. You will enjoy it. I guarantee you it will be hands-on. I do take my time, and I'm very, very serious about making sure you're the best, especially if you're going to mention I taught you. You better know what you're doing, okay? So please do that. So everybody, I do want to thank you very much. By the way, sign up for the newsletter. It is absolutely free. Just go to Lloyd-Strayhorn.com or go to Linktree/numbers and you. And at the end of each zodiac sign in the newsletter, you will see a link, and the link will take you to the broadcast that Miss Kimberly and I have do. I think this is our 20th nonstop newsletter we've done, where we actually tape the segments of what we do. It's kind of fun. I make it fun because people be like worrying about whether it's too scary or serious or not. But anyway, do thank you. Have a great weekend. Please take care of yourselves. And I think I can now go out by playing the theme music. Okay, here we go. Take care.